Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. The Health Department is set to slash jobs in a bid to rescue its budget, starting a committee to abolish vacant positions. Unions are now putting industrial action on the table, claiming the move will cost Tasmanians their lives.
Those on the front line of Tasmania's embattled health service say there's no fat left to trim.
Pharmacy is very short-staffed at the moment as it is. We are already running at a very high vacancy percentage, around 30% vacancy rate.
The Department of Health says its budget has deteriorated significantly and is setting up a vacancy committee to review any new recruitment. It'll look at whether other staff could cover the duties or how to manage risks created by not filling the positions.
When it talks about vacancy control, it means cuts to services, and this means that Tasmanians will die.
Calling those claims grossly misleading, the Health Minister says this is about adapting.
We're all about growing our healthcare workforce. We're all about ensuring that we have more doctors, more nurses, more ambulance operators.
Outraged unions are now considering industrial action, concerned for the 500 unfilled positions across the state and extra work to be thrown at current staff.
They're not only delivering clinical care, but they're also undertaking administrative duties, cleaning duties, orderly type roles, only because the government haven't filled those support positions.
Cuts anywhere within the health system are going to have a roll-on effect to frontline services, whether those cuts happen in the frontline service or whether they happen behind the scenes.
With Tasmania's debt growing and the government bringing in an efficiency dividend set to claw $300 million back from departments, the opposition's now wondering aloud what else is on the chopping block.
How far does this reach? We asked the Minister for Child Safety this week questions about vacancies in the child safety system. Are those jobs going to be subject to job cuts?
Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
A 36-year-old man who stabbed an intruder to death has been sentenced to 6 years in prison. Caleb Adams pleaded guilty to the manslaughter of a neighbour who was trying to break into his Mornington home. The incident occurred in October 2020. Appearing in the Supreme Court in Hobart, the court was told the defendant has shown genuine remorse for his actions. Adams will be eligible for parole in 2027. Hobart's housing prices have taken a tumble, going against a national trend. They've slumped almost 9% in the latest figures. The fall blamed on rising interest rates as more properties hit the market.
Around Australia, home prices have proved resilient in the face of 2 years of rate rises. But Hobart is bucking the trend.
Weakest performing capital city, with home prices having fallen 8.8% over the past 2 years.
According to CoreLogic, the drop has a simple explanation.
There's more supply on the market than there are people actually looking to purchase a home.
When we look at total listings or the total supply of properties available for sale in Hobart, that's increased by around 70% since May 2022.
It's creating a more balanced market and less competitive selling conditions. The falling prices spelling good news for buyers.
It's really buyers who have the power at the negotiating table. They can take their time to look at different properties and they can negotiate prices lower.
But the same can't be said for sellers and those who've recently bought a home.
Because they would have bought around the peak of the market, and if they struggle with mortgage repayments.
With median house prices across Hobart currently sitting just under $675,000, sellers who bought at the top of the market might struggle to get their money back. It's not all bad news though.
The sellers who have held their property for longer, they're still very likely to make a gain from selling their home.
Rebecca Gaidaneris at 7 Tasmania News.
The Greens will look to protect the Cenotaph in Hobart by introducing legislation to Parliament. Comes after a request from the RSL, which is opposed to the proposed stadium location at Mac Point, saying it would disturb the sightlines.
It gives them reference points of what the last things they saw before they went into conflict. That's as current today as it was in 1914.
This Act would enshrine in law the sacred nature of the values of the Cenotaph and ensure that they are protected and are protected in perpetuity.
The Project of State Significance process overrules existing planning provisions, which include a 15-metre maximum height. On Monday, it will be 1 year since Belgian backpacker Celine Cremier went missing while hiking in the northwest. To mark the sad milestone, a local artist has launched an installation at the walking trail with hopes hikers could help solve her disappearance.
Keeping Celine's memory alive, the tourist disappearance has touched Waratah.
She will never be forgotten. As a Belgian family have lost a daughter, but she will always be within our care.
A memorial artwork made by Duty Hunter has been installed at the entrance to Philosopher's Falls, the installation in time to mark 1 year since Celine vanished.
It is a small community, but a very caring community that always look out for each other and others. And for something like this to happen, and in such a beautiful place, it really did hit them hard.
Police leaving no stone unturned in her search, bringing cadaver dogs from interstate and using mobile phone data triangulation to find a location. But so far, no trace has been found of the backpacker. Officers still determined to find out what happened to the now 32-year-old.
There's nothing to indicate that she met with foul play. However, our minds remain open to any scenario.
It's hoped the installation will be a permanent reminder for anyone walking these tracks to look for any clues that could help provide some answers for Celine's family.
I want them to remember her, even for a fleeting moment, because she is a lost soul that has not come back yet.
If you have information or you know something that you think may assist us with this investigation or any other investigation, please get in touch with us.
Mark Zita, 7 Tasmanian News.
Hundreds have rallied around the state calling out the mistreatment and neglect of our oldest generations. The walks coinciding with Elder Abuse Awareness Day, highlighting the need to protect vulnerable Tasmanians from being harmed by those they trust most.
It's a global scourge inflicted on society's matriarchs and patriarchs who in their old age become vulnerable to abuse on a number of levels. Statistics show 1 in 6 elderly Tasmanians experience some form of mistreatment, although the real figures are likely higher.
So it could be financial abuse, taking their money. It could be isolating them from friends and family, and in extreme circumstances it can lead to physical and sexual abuse.
Francine is a survivor of elder abuse.
It starts on the little things like you might be money shy or something like that, and gradually it increases until you don't exist anymore.
Disturbingly, the majority of elder abuse cases are perpetrated by family members.
People who are within a relationship of trust with that older person, but yeah, family certainly makes up for a large number of those cases.
Advocacy Tasmania highlights the need for vigilance given the growing number of cases.
A lot of people may not think that what they're doing is actually elder abuse, when in actual fact it could be.
Walks against elder abuse were held across the state today, with participants encouraged to wear purple, reflecting the colour chosen by the United Nations World Elder Abuse Awareness Day, which encourages kindness and empathy. Melinda Ogden, 7 Tasmania News.
We've been given a sneak preview of Mona's latest offering. Jam-packed with some of the world's rarest objects, name-dropping invites visitors to reflect on how far some of us will go for social status.
From David Bowie's written Starman lyrics to a vest made out of Margaret Thatcher's scarves. These remarkable artefacts making up more than 200 rare objects in Mona's biggest ever exhibition.
Name dropping is the name of the exhibition, and the teams here have been working on it for around 3 to 4 years.
The special stuff playing with the concept of status and what we'll do to look good in front of others.
We also really hope people will have a bit of a think about what status means and what it does, for good and for not so good sometimes.
Among the art, perhaps the one that has people most excited, the only copy of a Wu-Tang Clan album.
It's a very important piece of pop culture, and it's an incredible work of art, and it's a fantastic story that the band have put together.
As part of the exhibit, Mona is hosting a series of listening events, giving a limited number of guests the chance to hear Wu-Tang Clan's secret recording on what's been named the world's rarest album. From cricket to cars, the show including various pieces from Mona owner David Walsh's personal collection.
It's not something we could have done just from our collection. We want people to see things that have never been seen in Tasmania before and quite a lot never been seen in Australia before.
Ensuring there's a status symbol for everyone to admire. Lily Thompson, 7 Tasmanian News.
It's a big night at the Gabba for Launceston boy Ari Schoenmaker, making his AFL debut with St Kilda, called up after a raft of injuries in Saints camp. It'll be far from an easy trip for them. The Lions are starting to show signs of the form that made them a major force last season. There are no late changes from either side tonight. Stick around after the news to catch Ari's debut. It's back to business this weekend for Canberra in the NPL, putting aside that heartbreaking last-minute goal which dashed their Lacca Seljuk Cup dream.
We've had to have a pretty short-term memory in that respect in terms of recovering quickly and preparing for this match.
Saturday's game against Clarence will fundraise for the Prostate Cancer Foundation. Meanwhile, Cup winners Glenorchy play Riverside and ladder leaders South Hobart host Launceston. Hobart's Matilda Smith heads into finals at the Olympic trials tonight, third fastest in this morning's heats in the 200-metre breaststroke. Noah Camprad leading his 1500-metre final for the first 7 minutes this afternoon, but dropping back to finish fourth. South Esk's Abby King not progressing beyond her 100-metre freestyle heat. Ariane Titmus relegated to the B final in the same event. With gold and silver in the 200 free from 2 Olympics, Kyle Chalmers overcame back issues to reach his third games. The big star of the week, Alexa Leary, added the S9 100 freestyle to her first Paralympics program. And a Tassie trio is going for $1 million glory in Brisbane tomorrow. Wesley Vale trainer John Keys racing former Tasmanian Horse of the Year, the inevitable in the Stradbroke Handicap, the pinnacle of the Winter Racing Carnival. Devonport Cup winner Craig Newitt will ride the gelding in the $3 million Group 1. Yeah, good luck to them, Kim.
And the weather is next with Kaya Wicks.
Good evening. Hobart warming to only 10 degrees for the second day of the winter feast. Launceston 11 and 12 the top for both Devonport and Burnie. Around the island, 14 was recorded on King Island, 12 for Flinders Island, Smithton and Low Head. St Helens and Strawn 11, 10 degrees for both Friendly Beaches and Marai Island, 9 the top for Grove and Ooze, 3 degrees in Lyweni after an overnight low of -2. It was a cold start inland for Tasmania this morning with a blanket of stratocumulus cloud over southern, eastern and central areas with patchy high-level cloud in the northwest. Cloud continues to spiral around a pressure system near the Yorke Peninsula in SA, which is also covering a large portion of the southeast of the country. Now tomorrow we can see Tasmania in a holding pattern here between a high pressure centre to the southwest and a broad area of low pressure over the eastern Tasman Sea. South to southeasterly winds increasing up to 30 knots about the east coast during the day, with southwesterly spells reaching around 2 metres in the southeast. Now tomorrow there is a strong wind warning for coastal waters between east of Flinders Island around to southeast Cape. A shower or two for the south tomorrow as we kick off the weekend. Hobart 12, Maydena 9 and just 8 degrees for Oatlands. Partly cloudy in Launceston 12, fine and sunny in Devonport 13. Another freezing day for Lyweni 4 degrees, the top with an overnight low of -3 expected there. Little to no chance of rain for the west, Burnie fine 13, a morning frost in Strawn 11, sunny in Marrawar 12's the maximum. Possible showers for the east, St Helens, Swansea and Alford all expecting 12 degrees. Forecast now for Sunday. Showers about southern, central and eastern districts after areas of morning fog and frost. Monday, another morning frost likely with showers continuing. Now it will warm to just 13 degrees. That's our expected high for the state. Tuesday will wake to foggy conditions with a chance of another frost. It will be otherwise fine apart from light showers about parts of the east. We'll take a quick look now at mainland conditions this Saturday. Adelaide, a shower or two, clearing late, 15. 13 and early showers for Canberra. Fine and sunny in Brisbane, 22. Sunshine, of course, Darwin, 32. Possible showers developing for Perth, 21 the maximum. And here's our current temperatures right now. Have a great weekend, Kim, and I'll see you again on Monday.
Thank you, Kyra. And that wraps up tonight's bulletin. Thanks for joining us. Good night.